Hi, everybody. My name is Hasina Shah, and I am a writing coach at the Moody Writing Support Program.
And my name is Aaron Sullivan, and I'm also a writing coach at the Moody Writing Support Program.
And we are here to chat with you a little bit about how to peer review and why peer review is important.
So what is peer review? Peer review is a very crucial step in the writing process. It gives every writer a chance to share their work and receive feedback from a peer before handing it in to a professor or an editor, depending if you're in a class or you're working for a publication or something like that.
And here are our top tips and tricks when peer reviewing. So when you are the peer reviewer, it's important to maintain the writer's voice. Um, as this work is not your own, it shouldn't sound like you. So when you're making your edits, try to be as detached from the voice as possible and really stick to focusing on the content when you're editing. Ask questions when they come up. So these questions can be about claims the writer makes, evidence, organization, sentence structure, word choice. And feel free to refer the writer to other resources that could be helpful to them if you see consistent gaps that come up. Look for patterns of errors. So instead of looking at every single micro detail and really focusing on the minutia of the writer's errors, look at the big pictures to find errors that might be consistent throughout the piece. This can help the writer identify best practices and be consistent with them moving forward. And emphasize that you're just one reader. So you aren't offering a definitive answer of what works and what doesn't. We, as peer reviewers, don't know everything. We are just offering our perspective. So make that clear in your comments. Saying something like, in my perspective, or in one reader's opinion, as a starting point to your comment, and that can make a big difference. And be kind. Celebrate the writer when they do well, and remember that every writer is doing their best, and that peer review can be a time where any of our anxieties can be curbed by someone who's kind enough to share what we're doing well. Write comments in a professional and neutral tone that aren't destructive or hurtful, because remember, we're not here to critique the writer so much that they feel defeated, but to help their writing be the best that it can be.
And so some general guidelines for peer review outside of those tips that we just gave. Whenever you first receive a document from your classmate, before you start marking it with any edits or suggestions, read all the way through it before commenting to kind of see where the writer is coming from and to get the gist of what they're talking about. If you're provided a specific peer review form, make sure to use that when you're peer reviewing. It'll kind of offer you a guide to what you're looking out for in the specific assignment. If something on the form is unclear, make sure to ask your professor for clarification. When you're working through peer review assignments with your classmates, make sure you're offering suggestions, not commands. Like, I think this would work a little bit better here. There's no need to take it. This is your piece of writing after all. Um, Make sure that the comments you leave behind are clear and specific. Instead of just saying this sentence is confusing, explain why it's confusing. And through that, you can work with the writer to try and find out a way to make it a little less confusing. Don't overwhelm the writer with too much feedback. Instead, let's stick to what's on the peer review form. This will kind of help you get everything done in the allotted time that you have, and it'll also help your classmate with the assignment at hand for your class. Don't let your opinions bias your review. You may know a lot about the subject that your writer is talking about, and you might want to insert your knowledge into what your writer is talking about. But it's important to stick to how the writer is saying what they're saying, and not so much what they're saying. Um, Avoid turning your peers' paper into your own. Through the process of making comments and suggestions and edits, eventually you could degrade your peers' voice in their writing, and so much so that it just becomes your own writing. And that is getting onto the borderline of plagiarism, which is definitely something we want to avoid in all of our writing classes and in the writing profession.
And if you need more help, feel free to come see Erin and I at the Moody Writing Support Program for more tips and tricks about peer review. If you need something peer reviewed yourself, we are happy to help. Feel free to book an appointment at the link below.
Awesome. And thank you guys for sitting and listening. Here are some additional resources that we helped or that we used to help prepare this presentation that may be helpful for you as well. Happy writing and happy peer reviewing.